Yo, guys, what's going on? Coach Jamie here with Relentless Glory. And oh my goodness, I am so stoked for who is about to be jumping on to share a testimony today. So let me go ahead and invite him. So excited. Gotta wait for it. Huh. There have been so many amazing testimonies that have already come through, but I am slightly biased that I'm super, super pumped for this one especially. This is one I've been wanting to have happen for a while now. Is it letting you join? Is it letting you join? Here we go. Says he joined. Where's your face? Where's his face? Wait for it. Accept. Okay. I'm so excited. It's coming. Any minute now. I don't know why it's saying he's unable to join. Technical difficulties. Please bear with me, y'all. I hope you are all having a great start to your week. There we go. Here he comes. Hello.
Well, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me? I can hear you.
I don't know. They let my headphones work.
Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Perfect. Okay. So as I was just saying before you popped on, first of all, so good to see you. So very good to see you. It has been far too long. Brandon is a dear friend of mine back from when I was in the Toledo, Ohio area, and I was blessed to hear his story years ago and have just been able to watch him freaking take over the world and be the nonstop beast that he freaking is. However, in order to be able to have this type of warrior spirit that unfortunately but fortunately doesn't come without a price, right? And his testimony is absolutely insane. So with that being said, Brandon, does your internet connection seem okay? It looks like you're kind of freezing on my end.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. So, without further ado, I want Brandon to get a chance to just kind of say what all it is that he's doing, what he's up to, but then most importantly, share his testimony because he is an insane man of God. And, he definitely looks up to everything that God has given him and has protected him with along the way. So Brandon, kick it off. Share with us your story.
Well, first of all, good to see you, Jamie.
So
Good to see you, Jamie. So, the interesting thing is, man, is that I had this conversation with little Brandon and my oldest daughter, Brandy, right? And just like everybody else, a lot of people don't believe in what they can't see. But they don't realize what we are going through is the testimony. So just because we can't see air, we do know it exists, right? Because you can't see electricity, turn our lights on, we do know it exists. So that's kind of the thing that I spoke to my kids about. Now, I grew up with a super religious grandfather. And he did Sabbath day, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I would spend summers with him, I grew up in vocational Bible school, 2-3 days a week going to church, stuff like that. So a lot of that I've learned, was that when I watched, even though we can't see the holy dot, right? I watched my grandfather take people who were drug addicts, take him and my grandmother, my mom's stepmom. I watched them take people who were drug addicts, kids who were drug dealers, kids who were gangbang, all this. I watched them walk to the church, and we used to walk in like groups of 15, 16. That's that's the act of the spirit, because those kids would not have done that without my grandfather, and it was living through him. So you don't understand none of these things when you're growing up, or until you actually go through something. So me personally, in 2004, I was stabbed 9 times, right? And when the surgeon, he said he was 30 years. 30 years. He said, and I asked him, I said, how bad was it? Because I was in a medically induced coma, all of these things. So I asked him, I said, how bad was it? He was like, yo, to be honest with you, first time in 30-year practice, I said a prayer. And when he said that, he said, because of the extensive of your injuries, the way your vitals were, when they had to hit me with the defibrillator twice, the last time they hit me with it, it was up to what a human could possibly take without frying. So I was either going to die or I was going to be brain dead from the electricity.
Wow.
So when you think of that, when a medical profession of 30 years, and we know a lot of medical professions have a God complex, let's keep it real. We do know that. And, because they save lives, but at the end of the day, there has to be something else that gets somebody out to bed, because I was stabbed, and then somebody I knew prior to that, Scott Marshall, had less injuries than me. And he died in my arms. So there was a reason for everything. So what I'm saying is, even though I hadn't walked, I haven't spent my last years in church, but it's interesting how people feel like because they do go to church that they receive that message. That's not actually necessarily true, because I've talked to a lot of people who go to church every Sunday, and when I speak to them through testimonies in the Bible, through other certain things, they're like, man, what? Really? I was turned off from the church from what happened to my grandfather's church and the way he was treated when he got sick. So it kind of was like, man, everything can't be a scam. You know what I'm saying? Everything can't be taken advantage of. And a lot of human beings took advantage of my grandfather, and it broke my heart to the point to where I was really turned off by churches. And, sometimes, what we think is a messenger of God, it really got a serpent tongue. And a lot of people who speak that on a consistent basis, I don't go around and speak my religion or speak my beliefs to everybody. And the reason why is because I was growing up to know that that's not the people who not deserve, everybody deserves, but the people who want the message, your spirit will draw them to you. So that's how I've always done it. But you got some people though, and in the business I'm in, the business that I'm in, which is the fitness industry, which is another testimony of everything. We got some people that will talk that talk and don't live that at all. And it's devastating to me, man, because I'd be like, man, ain't no what would Jesus do right now. I'm about to break your jaw, dog. I can't even stand how you do it, because they use that as a catalyst to take advantage. But my grandmother always told me this. She said, if God got children, so does who? Who you mean, Grandma? The devil. So if God got children out here, y'all don't think the devil got children too? So she said people serve whoever, not just God. Unfortunately, that's what the world is. So I think why people get turned off from religion, and I'm not saying people need to jump in. That's not what I'm saying. We're having this conversation because this is the spirit drawing us to have this conversation. We didn't go around and say, come here, come here. No, we had this organic conversation. This is what we're doing. So I'm not trying to get anybody to go to church today. I'm not trying to get anybody to go pick up the New Testament, the Old. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to tell people is, if you actually look at certain things that you couldn't control, if you actually look at certain things that you might not be involved in without, if you look at some of the doors that close and some of the doors that open, yeah, that's your good energy. Where are we drawing that from? Now, people believe what they want to believe, and I've allowed my kids to follow their own footsteps on what they believe. And, whatever going to come out of it, going to come out of it. I'm not going to force them to do nothing. But I do know this. I always revert back to 2004. When I was on that table, when I was in that life flight, when all of my body felt like I was ice cold on July 24th, 2004, one of the hottest days of the summer, when I literally was losing my sight, when I was losing everything, my taste, everything, and I woke up from a medically induced coma, and he told me he prayed, I knew that kind of drew back my belief in it. So now people use any certain things like energy. Energy is everything, man. I understand that. Where are you putting these good energy spirits from? Where are you pulling this from? So my thing is, I've been through a lot. I'm 42 years old. I'm able to make a living being signed to 2 companies in the fitness industry. I'm able to be a financially stable, take care of my family. I'm able to do that. You know what I'm saying? With the financial thing that people work tens and tens of years to do. I'm able to do that in a year and a half. I'm able to work with people that I admired in this industry. I'm able to grow with a company and have the blessing that we have going on. We got a lot of stuff going on. I don't talk about it all because I just like to let it happen. So that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And that comes from somewhere. Now we got some comments. That nose ring doesn't fit you. So at the end of the day, you know, then you have those people. So if anybody think the nose ring don't fit me, then come take it out. But this is what I says. Now see what I'm saying? So let's hit them with something from the Bible. And so this is what we're talking about. Have no condemnation on God's children. People only do what they know how to do. And this is what's coming from Brandon. If that's a man judging what I look like, then you should probably check your status on your Facebook, bro. So, but anyway, at the end of the day, man, that's just what it is. I still have my days, man. I speak on mental health, period. I still have my days, man. You know what I'm saying? I still have those days where I don't think very spiritually. I think like the other guy. But it's about self-control, and I'm blessed to have developed that. So, like I said, we are in a stage in my life right now where, being 42 years old, I'm able to be in physical condition. I'm able to still do the things I love to do, and I'm able to make a living out of doing that. Not too many people can say that. Somebody right now is not happy getting up and going to work in the morning, and they're scared to do something different. You know what I'm saying? What they don't understand is that it is possible. They have no idea with that. It is actually possible for you not to wake up in the morning and hate going to your job. I do not hate getting up in the morning. In fact, when the night is over, I hate going to sleep. Reason being, because there was something that I could have did today that I'm always thinking. I'm always, especially being a creator, I'm always creating something. I'll wake up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom and then edit a video, period. Or look at ways to grow my brand, look at ways to help the company. So, you know what I'm saying? So I don't hate getting up in the morning. I hate going to sleep. And that is a blessing to be able to have that life. So,
You know, oh my
oh my
goodness.
God, hold
So
on, man, hold on, hold
many,
on,
like,
whoa. Lord, thank you for giving that to me. That was profound. I do not hate waking up. I hate going to sleep. Damn. All right, go ahead. Damn, that
let's
was
go.
good.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. Miracles happening even right here on this call. So,
Wow.
a couple takeaways. One, what you even started with, right? Like, the whole point of having faith in this God is because things are happening, we don't even see them. We're gonna trust how Wi-Fi works when we can't see it, right? We trust that there's air that we're breathing in, but then all of a sudden people don't want to trust that there's a higher power that is capable of performing these miracles or is able to bless us no matter how big of sinners we are or not. So that's point one that I thought was huge that you touched on. Two, you know, although like our testimonies are completely different, I grew up very much where the way that I like to describe it is it was a forced religion, not a relationship. It was a rule, it was a
Right.
law, it was super strict on this is how it is and this is how it isn't. And there was no room for grace. And so until learning that they're like having that relationship along the way of this God that loves us all, right? Like we are all imperfect people serving a perfect God. So right there when I saw that comment as well, like, listen, like who are we to judge anybody, whether anything is right, wrong, in between? Just because somebody may sin differently than us doesn't make you any better or worse, right? So
Jamie,
that was huge.
Jamie,
But
Jamie. Now let's say this to that comment. If the nose ring don't fit, I know what does, and that's 22.5-inch arms. So if the nose ring don't fit, them arms are damn sure. You gotta have
what
fun with
I
it.
also
People don't
love
understand,
about
man.
this,
I get this weird stuff on the internet all the time. Like it's all good. Those be the same people, man. Those be the same people, man, that wait for talk to me at the expo. So I don't even care about it.
yeah, and you know, I think that just the final point that I want to make with all that too is that no matter what, like And I think this is something that I've always admired about you from the moment that I met you, even before I knew what your story was,
Thank
is the type of things that have happened to you, right? Like you could have chosen to just give up physically. Like knowing you were stabbed 9 times, knowing the placement of where you were stabbed, and the fact that you are still even doing anything health and physical wellness related, let alone
you.
at the capacity that you do, like that ain't that I'm gonna be honest, that ain't just your strength, that's the strength of God and because of the purpose that He's placed on your life. And so that's what I just think is so beautiful, is because I have also time and time again seen and heard and chatted with you about, you know, maybe some of the negative or the not so good things that have happened and the way that you have chosen to rise above it. Like, of course, there's
Yeah.
times that even some of these comments, or we have a bad day and we maybe don't act all holier than thou. But again, that's why we are imperfect people who have to pursue a perfect God, right? He is the one that has already forgiven us for our sins even before we created them. So oh my gosh, I think it's super beautiful, because along with all of what you've done on the fitness side, can you just briefly like share the power of the book that you've published? Because that's another part of
So
your testimony that I think is powerful and what you've chosen to do.
that book come from way before. When I was in high school, man, I hated to read. I hated to read out loud. And it was no, it wasn't that I hated to read out loud. I actually like to read out loud. That's where the public speaking come from. But I hated to read out loud, or I'm sorry, I hated to write. I hated to write reports. If I didn't like it, I didn't want to research it. I didn't want to do it. So I did a book report on my favorite animal in the world, which is a gorilla, and some of the most fascinating creatures in the world, if you ask me, because I grew up in the 80s and 90s where Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about all these big time powerlifters, I'm sorry, bodybuilders. They used to hang on the wall and we used to try to emulate their workouts. So I've always liked massively strong things. So a gorilla has always been my favorite. So I did one of my one of my projects for science on the gorilla and how it this, that, and the third or whatever. And the teacher said, damn, I didn't know you could read. So when he said that, I took offense to it. The reason he said that is because I never applied myself, not because I couldn't read. I didn't apply myself. So fast forward to 2011, when a lot of people don't know, I fought mixed martial arts for 11 years. I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, as well as what I do in the fitness community, and a judo competitor. So I decided to start teaching kids. My former kickboxing coach, he passed away, and I broke my leg, so I was like 300 pounds. This is where my mental health was at its worst. I was like 300 pounds, and not a good 300 pounds, but I was at 300 pounds, and I went to see him in hospice, and he looked at me, and this was his best day he had. They said, he looked at me, he said, Colin, what you doing, man? You fat as hell. And I was like, well, thank you, Carlos. He's like, man, you know you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to teach kids like you promised me you would do. Me and you were supposed to run these kids' class together. He said, start the kids' class, and when I get out of here, we're going to start teaching together. Carlos came, man, he used to come to practice with his colostomy bag. Like, one of the reasons why he mentally had control of me. He mentally made me believe, helped me believe that you the best ever. And when his voice left my corner, when his voice left practice, that part of my life left too. So it was about time to hang it up. And I wound up breaking my leg anyway. So I just went on a deep depression. And he told me, he said, man, you need to get in there and teach some kids like you told me you was going to do. And when I get out of here, we're going to teach them together. And, that was a Wednesday. And Saturday, his wife called me and told me that he passed. So it took me about 3 months to get out of this depression. Man, that's a tough one. So it took me about 3 months to get out of this depression. And at that time, to be honest with you, man, I was taking pain pills. Like, I was forcing myself to believe that I was in pain. And then, when you start doing stuff like that, man, it just ain't never good. And I was isolating myself from everybody. Like, I wasn't a good father. I wasn't a good friend. I wasn't a good anything. And when that happened, I will never forget. I went home and took all the pain. Like, till this day, I won't take a pain pill. And I could break, hurt. I don't give a shit. I'm not taking nothing. So I went and threw them all in the toilet. And I was like 307 pounds. And I went through withdrawals. And I was like cold, so I couldn't sleep. And I told myself after a week of that, I said, I'm going to fight again. And I'm going to start kids program. And I will never forget, it was November 2013. November 2013. Thanksgiving. I'm driving to my grandmother's house. And I said, I'm going to get on the scale. I got on the scale 307.5. I had just happened to get a call saying, do you want to fight for a title in May? What's the weight class? 205. That's 100 pounds, 102 pounds. I said, you know what? Yep. Now, at that time, nobody from my training camp had seen me. So I said, I'm gonna start tomorrow because I got to eat this pecan pie and all this good stuff. So I'm going to start tomorrow. I remember going to practice that day, and it was up some stairs. And Jamie, I couldn't make it halfway up the stairs without being juiced. I was done. And I told myself, every day you're going to run these stairs. Every day you're going to run up them and you're going to run down them. And I did that. And long story short, I fought May 18, 2014. By May 10th, I was 215 pounds. In that process, I had started with the kids. My first 4 students was bully victims. And I'm like, what is y'all talking about bullying? What the hell? Bully? Who bullies who, man? You punch him in the mouth and let's go. And one kid got me. His name was Fred, who actually just graduated from Cincinnati. Fred went to Springfield. Fred said, his mom said, yeah, he gets beat up all the time. I said, well, Fred, man, we got to stop getting beat up, man. Because when I thought of bullying, I'm like, you going to defend yourself, bro. Anybody going to put their hands on you? So he said, man, Mr. Brandon, man, or Coach Brandon, I'm going to keep it honest with you, man. It's not that I can get beat up. I'm not a fighter. But when they talk about me being adopted, that hurts. And I was like, dang. So Fred rather get beat up than somebody talk about him being adopted. Long story short, I started posting about anti-bullying. I got a call from a church. That fast forward to me speaking to over 10 colleges. I can't even count the schools I spoke to. I spoke at that time, state rep Marcus Asher. I spoke at his campaign dinner. Like, I did a lot of cool stuff. I mean, I was starting from the church of 18 kids to a hall of what was my biggest 12 grand. So, or not a hall, but a stadium, basketball stadium of 12 grand. So I started speaking, and then I was at home on a snow day, and I was, remember before Netflix and all that cool shit, we used to have the In Demand, right? So I was looking for this movie, and I actually clicked on this movie called The Words, which is a great movie. I forgot the guy name, the actor played in the movie with Lady Gaga. Him, he was in it. He played in that singing movie. He was in it. And he wrote a book, and I was like, it was the coolest movie ever. It was like a cool movie. So I was like, damn, I can write a book. So what am I going to write about? And then it hit me. I'm going to write about these experiences with these kids. So I did, and that was in 2013 I did it, actually, before I fought. It's set in my files for 5 years.
Wow.
I got a call from, shout out to Sean Reed and Dusha Management. He said, man, I like your speaking. I heard good things. Because at that time, I'm going around schools. Now I got a behavior intervention program in the public schools. I'm going around speaking to schools. I'm going around in neighbor. I'm doing all that. They used to call me the inner city Avenger. So Sean was like, you should write a book. I said, man, it's funny you say that. I got a book. He said, what? I said, well, I don't know if it's a book, but I did write a story, though. He was like, a story? Man, send it to me. He didn't tell me what he was. He's a publisher. I sent it to him. He said, hey, man, this is what we going to do. We got to publish this. And we did. And actually, we came out. It's called The New Kid. We turned it into a comic book because I'm a huge superhero type dude. and I got the plaque over there. You know, and that was huge for me. Because I was the boy that they didn't think could read because he didn't apply. So now I'm a published book author. Also, was the boy who they said in the days I grew up was either you're dead in jail by 21. If you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. Well, I'm a book publisher. I'm 42. You almost got me at 24, but I'm 42 now. And black men don't take care of their kids. Well, my 18-year-old just graduated high school. I had her since she was 10 months, and my kids are great. So
I love
I'm
it.
very
I love it.
involved. You know, very involved in my kids. You know, we don't. I don't, and I always very rarely because it's too many creepos. Like somebody just said something about my nose ring. Like if somebody say something about my kids, dude, I'm gonna turn into the dude from Taken, and I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna bodily harm him. I cannot do the kid thing. And they can say whatever they want about me. I do not play when it comes to my children. I don't let them follow me on social media. I don't want any ties to them on this weird platform that we have that actually could be used for great, but we still have people who don't do it for the right things. So I got athletic kids. I don't force them to do nothing. I learned that lesson. My son's a good wrestler. Didn't force him to do what he wanted to. My daughter was a good volleyball player, softball player. My youngest, and you know, biased as I'm gonna say it, she got that mentality that she gonna go far with it. They was all good, but her headspace, she takes the most from me when it come to that. You know, my kids got strong minds, but sometimes adversity get them. I try to help them with it, but my young one though, she got it. So I still judge myself on fatherhood and everything. But yeah, that's where the book came from, man. And we at this second gear of my life where I'm able to travel. I'm able to, like I said, be around people I admire. Like I used to look at these guys and say, man, I would love to work out with CT Fletcher. Then all of a sudden, hey son, when you gonna come to the gym? We got multiple videos together. Cali Muscle, hey bro, come to Cali. We got multiple videos. Like all of these guys that once was just on this internet, I can pick up the phone and call them. Hey, how you doing? Everything good? So then when I realized, and everything happens for a reason, because if I was in my 20s doing this, I'd be an idiot. But now that I know what the purpose is, because at the 20s, I didn't know my purpose. Now I know what purpose is. Now I know there's no, I'm so humble in it. And I know people hate the humble word. I get it. I know people hate the humble word, but when I was at butthole, I wasn't a very good person. So I'm going to say humble. You call me whatever you want. I still believe in everything. I believe in myself. But this, I appreciate Chef Rush, Eric the Trainer. See, all these guys I text on the regular just to say thank you. These guys, like I said, I want you to see them and admire them. I remember the first time I seen Chef Rush all over Good Morning America. I'm like, who in the hell is this buff chef? This dude is huge. Then all of a sudden, he's one of my mentors in this industry. Like, the stuff that we got coming up is crazy. How it's almost like you almost question, how are you involved in that? It's a lot of reasons why you are. One of them, because you got to be a decent human being. One of them, you got to be a decent human being, and you got to believe. People don't know, and I say this all the time, faith is the substance of all things hoped for and the evidence of those things that are unseen. That is the honest to God truth. If you do not have faith in nothing, you don't stand for nothing, period. I don't care what you believe in. You got to have faith in something. And you better have it in yourself to be able to maneuver in this world that's crazy. You got to be able to do it. We don't have to do the things that people are. We don't have to be our circumstances. I didn't grow up bad. I know I grew up in the hood, but my mother was down. My grandmother, they didn't play. And once my mother got out of school and got a better job, it was a culture shock. You go from the hood to the suburbs. It's like, and I was so institutionalized that I wouldn't spend time over there. I would always go back. So, you know, I dabbled in the ignorance, of course, got in those things that I shouldn't, seen things that I shouldn't, which is why I speak on mental health a lot, because those things help you grow. You understand what you've seen. You shouldn't see murder when you under 10 years old. You shouldn't witness this. You shouldn't have to see. I've been to more funerals than I've been to weddings, than I've been to college and high school graduations. So, and that's me and Sam. We've been to more funerals than we have been to that. And, you know, it's something that you need to check, because when I was super violent, I was a very violent human being. I was a quick, ready to go. And I thought mixed martial arts was going to help me. It didn't. Punching somebody in the face became routine. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love the sport. I love combat sports. I know what it takes to be in them. I don't know what it takes to make that much money, but I do know what it takes to be in them. And punching somebody in the face is a super unnatural thing to do. But when you do it in a sport, I get it. But I was doing that. I was saying, what you say? And I was quick to do it. And one of my guys, man, he actually was sent here to make sure that I was good. He got a bouncing job on the island because the older dude told him, man, go out there with Brandon, man. You know, he's still kind of, so go out there with Brandon, man. He still got that in him. And that's why he came here on his layoff time to bounce. Now we're trying to work on getting him secure. He loved protection. That's his thing. He said, I was born to protect. So he is a blessing too. So he told me, he said, hey, man, you remember how Tupac died, right? I'm like, what? He said, instantly he ran up and did something, and he was killed for that. He said, dude, you are 280 pounds. You are a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Nobody's going to keep taking butt whoopings from you. You need to stop doing what you do. You need to relax. It's not that serious. And I always had to catch myself. And that was my problem, dude. When you grow up in a certain area, when you fight mixed martial arts, I lost 3 fights. You know, it's out of my 19. I don't care about getting a butt whooping. I was getting my butt whooped by older dudes growing up. And that was why I would act the way I would, because I have no fear of the consequence. But then you can be like, well, either you're going to hurt somebody or somebody going to hurt you. And what is that worth? So I had to get my mental health together. And that came with a lot of prayer, came with a lot of stuff that I never thought I could do, like meditation and reading a lot of stuff that you never thought you would read. So, you know, that's where we at with it now. And now it's just about growing as a person and growing as a businessman first, because I'm too damn old to continue to lift the way I do. Granted, it is a job, but I want to be able to do other things. I don't want to be remembered for my lifts. I don't want to be remembered for my message. So,
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So all of that to be said, because this is something that is super important to Coach Liv and I for Relentless Glory, is to, like, exactly what our mission is, to relentlessly live for the glory of God, right? And so my question that I want to ask you to share with anyone and everyone who watches this is, because of all the crazy adversity that you've been through, what would you say would be your words of encouragement for somebody who's struggling with their faith? Like, they know God exists, but maybe their hearts are hardened to him right now, or they're angry with him. Like, what would be your encouragement to somebody who's struggling with their faith?
you know, that's a hard one, because like what we get angry with God about normally is circumstances, right? Broke, death, especially for me, it's death. You know what I'm saying? I don't realize, I didn't understand why nobody can make it, you know, past a certain age. Broke, you know, money, relationship. People think like, why am I going through this? People are afraid to understand that you can be heartbroken, but people are afraid to understand that some of these things that we don't have, we didn't need in the first place. I tell people all the time, I ain't never sacrificed nothing. I didn't need it. I didn't need it. I didn't need it. So the things that we say, you know how people say, well, I sacrificed drinking to lose weight. Did you sacrifice alcohol? You actually needed that? I sacrificed smoking cigarettes to lose weight. No, you sacrificed it. No, I'm sorry. You didn't need it because your lungs is as black as the bottom of your shoe. So
good.
that's not it. What you did was got out of your life things that are going to help you progress, period. So people got to understand that what's lost is a gain. And that's just the honest to God truth. We have never lost, except your mother, your grandmother, your father. Certain people in your life can't be replaced. When my grandmother passed away, can't be replaced. I'm blessed to still have my mother and my crazy ass dad. My mother, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my step grandmother cannot be replaced. But what I do know is this: they are not on this earth suffering from the things that I had to watch them go through before they passed away. My grandmother, my mom's stepmom, I was close to all my grandparents except for my dad's mom. I was young when she passed. My grandmother, Reese, which is my mother's stepmother, she had Alzheimer's, right? That was the most devastating thing I had to do was go visit her. I was crushed. When I went to visit her, I hated her not knowing who I was. And she knew who I was. It was just a different time. I was little Brandon. My granddad, Bobby. My granddad, Bobby, was big, man. He used to take them 5-gallon water jugs, grab them with one hand, flip them over his shoulders. He was like, we used to call him John Henry. He was big military guy. And when I watched him go through cancer, he just went away. You know what I'm saying? And my granddad, every time you asked him how he was doing, since I was a kid, he would say, terrific, terrific. I took him to his doctor's appointment probably the last 2 months he was alive. And the doctor said, how you doing today, Mr. Bobby? He said, so-so. I was like, oh, shit. Like, granddad ain't doing good. I've never heard him say nothing but terrific. And he passed away, can't be replaced. My grandma Mary, she was a dog. That's where I get a little bit of that extra from. Grandma Mary would tell you, hey, man, don't make me go upstairs and get Lucy. We didn't know Lucy existed until we had to move her into the condo. Lucy was really that pistol for real. So she wouldn't play. But my grandmother also was 86. She grew up in Mississippi. She seen stuff that we can never understand why. That's why when I spoke at her funeral, I said, man, I was sad, man, because my grandmother passed away. But then I thought about it. My grandmother got to see a lot of things. My grandmother was around before the civil rights movement. My grandmother seen the first black president. My grandmother seen a lot of things that she probably thought she never would see. And my grandmother also told me this, though. She said, our last conversation was, I video called her. She was eating, I'll never forget this. She was eating Chick-fil-A and a Twinkie, right? And you know how it go when people die, man. They say they look their best. And she was sitting up there chilling. I said, Grandma, yo, I'm gonna tell you something else about God. I said, Grandma, what you eating on that nasty fish sandwich from McDonald's? She said, boy, no, I'm eating some Chick-fil-A today. I had to change it up. So I said, how you doing, Grandma? She said, when you coming home? I said, I'm gonna come home Thursday. This was Sunday. And she said, Saturday. She said, nah, you should probably come home tomorrow. I said, no, you ain't coming home tomorrow, Grandma. You don't be trying to go see Granddad before I get home now. I'm just joking, because that's how me and my grandma was. I used to prank call my grandmama, singing to her and hanging up on her. So that's how we was. And she said, no, you should come home tomorrow. So 2 weeks before that, I said, Grandma, stop saying you ready to go. Stop saying that. She said, boy, I was not able to control when I came into this raggedy mother. I'm definitely going to tell y'all when I'm ready to leave. I literally went to sleep 4 in the morning. My mom called. She said, what time the earliest boat? I said 6. She said, you should get on it. Went there. She died at 12:30 that day. So she was ready to go. So when those things happen, it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Death was hard. You don't understand that. But it gave me a better understanding that my grandmother, that changed my thing about death right there. Death always gonna be hard for us. But when she said, I couldn't control when I came, but I'm definitely gonna get out of here when I feel like it, that was the most courage thing I've ever seen in my life. Somebody who's not afraid to go. She's not scared to go. I said, oh man, you know what? And she don't gotta have that breathing machine, and she had congestive heart failure. She ain't gotta have all that. So Grandma, go ahead and do what you do. So that I was hurt. I went into a deep depression. I think not as bad, but I didn't realize how deep it was because I just kept doing everything I was doing. And I still feel the effects from it, but death is always going to be coming for the people that we always going to question that. So all I tell people is, yo, we got to understand purpose behind everything. Purpose is bigger than anything. Purpose is bigger than the words, bigger than the prayer you say, because you might not believe in your prayer. You might just be sitting up in there singing the hymns. You might read the Bible. You might do all that. But your purpose is bigger than that, because that's actually something that is factual. Your purpose is factual. You don't got to believe it. You don't got to believe that the Bible. You don't have to believe it, but there is a purpose. So once you figure that out, things will change. And I just challenge people when they go through there, what's your purpose? Why you here? Why did you wake up and see that beautiful or feel that beautiful air that go through your lungs that you can't see? You believe in that, right? You paid your bill, your lights cut on, your cell phone cut on, your car start up. All of those things, man. You believe in that. So what's your purpose? What's your purpose day to day? I feel like that's the only way to stop depression sometimes. Not frustration, but depression. And it puts you on a path to become the best version of you. That's my opinion. You know, maybe not, but that's what got me through. I'm a person that was flat broke, living in a 76 Cuddy, living in room 213 at the Red Roof Inn out there on Burn Road, living over there, going to the church to get the free meals using a hot plate because I was too ego to tell somebody I needed help. And when I walked in that church and I was standing behind a man and his son, I'm in front of a man and his son. His son said, "Dad, they might not have enough for me and my brothers." And he said, "It'll be okay, son." You know what I did? I got my ass right out that line. I said, "Y'all go ahead." Went, pulled my front seat up, went and got some change, went and got a double cheeseburger and said, "This is the last double cheeseburger you're gonna eat." It wasn't, but it's the last double cheeseburger you're gonna eat that you have to eat. And I changed my shit up. I was, you know, I didn't have to be that way. But my mama told me I knew what you was doing, but as a man, you had to go through what you had to go through. And that helped me a lot too. Just being flat broke and homeless, that helped me out a lot too. So like I tell people, man, they say God work in mysterious ways. After my grandma's funeral, we went to McDonald's, get the kids something to eat, and there was a fish sandwich in there. I used to make fun of my grandmama all the time. Why you eat that fish sandwich? I looked at the receipt. It was no fish sandwich on there, and it wasn't an extra charge. And my daughter started crying. She said that was grandmama who did that. So it's a lot of things that, damn, I got goosebumps. It's a lot of things that people don't understand that happens, and they don't have to understand it. All I got to say is we are not here to tell you to go get the Bible and walk up and down the street. And we're not saying that. I say the most important thing people need to do is find purpose. And if you find purpose, I think you find where it comes from.
So good. So good. Thank you, Brandon, so much for just taking the time out to do this, because I know that you are a busy person, but like you mentioned, like, hey, we always got time for God, right? So I'm so grateful that you were willing to take the time to share this on our platform, because same to your mission. I'm not trying to throw the Bible at anybody's face, but it's just, I've experienced life not thinking and knowing God and being angry with it. And let me tell you, like, having that relationship with him and believing fully that there is purpose to the pain, and he's not finished with us, and there's the gifts of joy and abundance and eternal life that lies ahead if we just seek him first, has been a game changer. So it's just beautiful that we get the opportunity to share more testimonies like this. So thank you so freaking much for your time.
Yes,
do you mind if I pray us out? Yeah,
no, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for just blessing us with this fellowship and allowing everything that was meant to leave our mouths today to leave so. And just, we pray that every person who is meant to find this message, we pray that it impacts them and it encourages them and it draws them closer to you, but also helps them hang on a little bit longer, helps them work through their really, really tough struggles, and let them lean in and know that you're not done with them, and push them in the right direction so they can get clear on their purpose. For you have nothing but love for all of us, as long as we just continue to seek you, and you love us even in our struggles and our sinning moments. So we just thank you for always loving us through that. And thank you so much for Brandon. Please continue to bless him and all it is that he is doing. Continue to provide peace, joy, health, and wisdom in his life, and just watch over him and keep him safe. We love you. Thank you. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, sir.
Amen.
Listen, I also do have to say this real quick, because I'm so bummed that you were only like 2 hours from me and I didn't get to come see you. So hopefully here soon. It's been like what? I think it was since like 2018 since I got to work out with you. So a gym session is in order soon and very soon. So I will be on the hunt for you for that.
The company that I'm signed to is out of Dallas, so I'll definitely let you know. This winter we're gonna be doing a lot of business there, so
Beautiful,
I'll let
beautiful.
you
And
know for
guess
sure.
what? There's a plane that works both ways, and I can always come to you too. So still have to check out Muscle Day Fitness. I haven't been able to actually check out
Yes,
your
ma'am.
gym anyway. So one of these times we will get it in.
I know.
We will get it
Yeah.
in for sure. So, all
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Thank you so much, Brandon.